Abu Dawood, his wife and 3 children were driving through Folkestone en route to Germany. They didn't know, but police were watching them. As they approached the Eurotunnel, they were stopped, accused of planning to travel to Syria.
Like something out of a movie, 2 police cars came and boxed us in. And these guys basically got out and they ran over to my wife's side and they pulled her out of the car and they started reading her basically arrest sheet, and then they told me, I got out of the car and they told me the same.
The 2 parents were arrested here and the children taken into care. Initially, their mother agreed after being told that even if she didn't, it would happen anyway. But months later, they still haven't regained custody. Legally, we have to keep the parents' identity secret. They've never been charged and deny planning on going to Syria.
There was a 2-night stay in Germany. There was a ticket booked out and a return ticket booked back for the Sunday, so I can go back to work on Monday. So the kids could go back to school on the Monday as well. It's very difficult living without my children. They need their family, their mother and their father. If you take children away from their family home, you know, what damage is it going to cause?
The case is one of an increasing number of examples of the family courts having to deal with the consequences of alleged radicalisation. Counter-extremism measures have often been controversial, but cases involving children are a new and particularly emotive phenomenon. According to the Metropolitan Police, at least 32 children in London alone have either been made wards of court or placed in foster care. Some are young teenagers suspected of wanting to go to Syria. At least one, child B, described as an intelligent, educated and ambitious 16-year-old girl, was taken into care. Others are families. In 2 cases, known as X and Y, the parents had to accept electronic tags to get their children back.
What the courts are very successful in doing, by and large, is preventing people from travelling to Syria. I'm not aware of a reported case where there's injunctions in place that the children and young people have been smuggled out of the country despite that. Of course, you've got to be careful that we don't inadvertently breed contempt, breed anger as a result of these sort of regimes.
Other British Muslim families, like this one from Luton, have gone to Syria to live in the caliphate ISIS say they've created. In many cases, the police have been criticised for not stopping people they're concerned about leaving. We know that some British Muslim families have gone to Syria and Iraq with their families. So don't you think it's understandable that the police and the authorities are going to be worried about that happening?
I don't understand their way of thinking. It's
because people would be worried that children will be in a war zone, they might get hurt, they might be exposed to kind of what people term as extremist ideologies.
There's extremist ideologies everywhere. I mean, you know, it's extremist ideology that David Cameron is dropping bombs on children in Syria.
The authorities say Abu Dawood is an associate of a group of radical Muslims. Some others in that admittedly very broad circle have joined ISIS.
So they're trying to say guilty of association. Well, my answer to this is simple. There's paedophiles in the police, there's paedophiles in the judge, there's paedophiles MPs. So if there's paedophiles in all these different aspects of British society, then being an associate of those jobs, they must be paedophiles as well by association.
The police say that you're an ISIS supporter, effectively.
They haven't provided any evidence of that.
Do you support ISIS?
ISIS? What is ISIS?
Do you support the group that has declared a
I don't support any groups. They haven't charged me with anything.
I think a lot of people who are watching it, they'll think if they were in your position, they'd just come out and say, I completely disagree with ISIS. They'll be a bit suspicious about the fact that it doesn't seem that easy for you to just say that.
So, okay, do I want to take my family into a war zone? No, I love my family dearly. Why would I want to put them in harm's way for?
The family's case will go to the High Court. Abu Dawood hasn't been charged with trying to go to Syria. One of the issues here is that there's different standards of proof in family and criminal courts. Abu Dawood says he's being punished just for being a devout Muslim. Children's services teams deny that's happening.
taking children into a war zone, it clearly puts them at risk of significant harm, and that's a matter that the courts ought to adjudicate on. It's as straightforward as that, really.
So we're not trying to tell people what type of religion they should practice or how they should interpret Islam then?
No, absolutely not. This is simply about that kind of objective question about whether or not the child is suffering or likely to suffer significant harm.
Abu Dawood says he just wants his children back. He's likely to face protracted legal proceedings though, and the numbers of similar cases coming through family courts is likely to rise.